Hey y'all, Grandma Rose here. I'm at it again today. You know, this is springtime. I'm starting seeds. And I did an experiment, and it has worked. So I want to share this with you, and maybe this is something that you can try too. I was watching Jess of Roots and Refuge. Now, if you've watched my videos at all, you know how many times I mention things that Jess has done. So I just can't say enough good things about Jess. And perhaps I shouldn't even be talking about this on my video, and you all are going to go over and subscribe to Jess of Roots and Refuge. And if you haven't already, you should. But anyway, she did something the other day, and I think she had gotten the idea from someone else. She started her pepper seeds, I believe it was pepper seeds, on paper towels, just like you would if you were doing a germination test. And that way, you only need to plant the seeds that have actually sprouted. And it's not that you're wasting seeds because you've already planted a certain number of seeds. But if you're planting, say, in seed trays where you have individual cells, quite often you will plant a tray of seeds and you'll have empty spots and then don't have anything coming up in them, and you waste space. So this is more of a space saver than a seed saver. However, that's what I have done. So let me show you what I've done. In fact, I still had several peppers that I hadn't started yet, and I thought, well, why not? Why shouldn't I use that method? Now, the peppers that I planted 2 to 3 weeks ago haven't germinated yet. Or perhaps they have germinated, but they haven't emerged yet. So I will share with you exactly what I have done and how I can tell if the seeds have germinated or not. You can see how you can tell if the seeds have germinated or not, because you can actually look at the seeds and see if it has a root coming out of it or not. Then you pluck that out off of the paper towel and put it in your seed starting medium, and you're off to a head start. So let me show you. Well, let me say one more thing. I started these seeds, the pepper seeds, and I'm also going to show you some other seeds that I started. I will surprise you with those when I get to it. But I started the pepper seeds 8 days ago. So these are actually, and some of these actually germinated before then, but I waited because only a couple of the towels that I had germinated and the other ones had not. So I haven't done anything on those, and I waited. So I waited until I had germination on all of the towels, and it turned out there's one that I don't. I'm going to give that some more time. Maybe that one's just a little bit late. So let me turn the camera around and let you see what I've done and what I'm going to do with them. This is going to be in conjunction with another video that I have done where I've shown my winter sowing and how I am putting soil in my solo cups or in paper towels or toilet tissue rolls and putting them in Sterilite plastic boxes and then making little mini greenhouses out of them by adding a top to it. I'm using double boxes, so I'm taking 2 of the shoe boxes and stacking them on top of each other to make a hinge with some tape across the back of it to make a little mini greenhouse using these shoe boxes. I'll show you again how I do that, because this time I'm actually going to plant the seeds, not just make the box. So let me turn this around for you, let you see what I'm doing. Okay, let me show you here. So here are my cups in the plastic shoebox. Actually, I've got a stack of them. Do you see what I have here? It's pretty obvious. This is a little freezer bag. And in here, these are the pepper seeds that I have started. Leave this. Let me show you what I used to start these. So I took a paper bag and cut it in half. Cut the bag in half. And I'm just going to go ahead and cut it down the middle because it doesn't matter. You can make 2 bags out of one small, like a lunch-sized bag. I dropped one, but that's okay. And you end up with that. Just fold it in half. It's already got a fold right there. Fold it in half and wet it. Put the seeds on it and then roll it up like that. And then labeled it. I actually have a pencil that's like an ink pencil. It will write on wet paper. And it's good for this. So let me show you what I've done. So there is how I made and how I started the seeds. Like I said, you wet it, you put the seeds on, you wet it, and then you put a layer of seeds on in the middle or wherever. You could do it like so, fold it in half that way, and then fold it up this way. It doesn't really matter how you do it. The main thing is you want to give a little bit of room for the roots to grow. As they might germinate a little bit faster than you expect. So that's it. So here we go. Let me show you what I've got. Brown bags are smooth. They don't have the texture that a paper towel has. And since I'm not just checking to see if the seeds have germinated, but I'm actually pricking out the seeds and trying to plant them, I don't want to take the chance that the roots have actually grown into the texture, into the fiber of the towel, which could very well happen if you use just a regular kitchen paper towel. Because these are smoother, the roots shouldn't penetrate the paper as much, and they should be easier to remove. And since my object was to remove them and to plant them, I planted them on a smooth surface. You probably could do the very same thing with newsprint. I would say, I don't know if I would do the newsprint with the, no, I take this back. You know, the inks that the newspapers are using now are soy-based, and that shouldn't be a problem as far as toxicity goes. So it should be okay to start these on newsprint if you have newspapers. The main thing is just you don't want the paper towel to have a texture where the roots will grow into it. And if that happens, then instead of picking out just the seed off of it, you would need to snip out the whole thing, paper towel and all, and plant the whole piece into the soil and not try to extract the root from it. I hope that makes sense. Here is my first one. The first pepper I got is called a Mad Hatter. And look at this. I planted 4 seeds and I have 100% germination. And look how long those roots are. These were the first to germinate. I'll show you what I'm going to do. I'll do it in a minute, but first of all, while I've got these here, I will show you what I'm going to do. Now I have a pair of really sharp tweezers, and I will take the tweezers and very carefully pick up the seed, do not break the root off, and hold it like that, put a hole long enough in the soil for the root to go down, and then the top of the seed to be maybe 1/8 to 1/4 inch below the surface. So the hole on this would need to be 1 inch deep probably. So that's what I will do on those. The main thing is you want the seed itself to be at the same depth on every one of them. So depending on how long the roots are would make a difference on how big the hole you made. So let me cover that back up just a little bit. I'm not going to completely, because I'm going to plant these in a minute. I'm only going to use 1 cup for all of these. That way I can get, these are 8 packages that I can get all of them in one container. And then I will have to divide them later on. But that's okay. We'll have more to share. So there's one. Here's one called Canoncito. These are New Mexico peppers. These I think I got from Wild, I forgot what the name of the company is. Look at these. Look at the germination on these. And these I planted, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 8. And of these 8, it looks like 6 of the 8 have germinated. 2 have not. So I will pick out the ones that have germinated and leave the rest of them on the towels and give them a little bit more time and see if maybe those are just slow. But those. These are banana peppers. So you see the writing on that. The banana peppers. Do you see the roots? Those are going to come out and be planted. Like I said, I'll pick out the ones that have roots and leave the ones that don't on the towel and put them back in the bag again. Tabasco. I didn't plant very many of these because I don't need a whole lot of Tabasco plants. And of the 6 I planted, looks I've got 3 that have germinated. You see those? 1, 2, 3. Those look like they haven't been germinated very long. The roots are little short things. It's called Peter pepper. It's like Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Peter pepper. Now these, I didn't have very many seeds, so I only planted 3 of them. And 2 of the 3 have germinated. These are grand bell mix. So these are like, they're bell peppers, but they're multicolor. Or at least different, each plant is a different color, hopefully. And I have, how many of these? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. 8 of the 9 that I planted have germinated. That's really good germination on those. And these seeds were a year old. California Wonders. And again, look at the germination on these. Pretty good, huh? Well, it looks like, and there's 3 that have not germinated yet. That one, and that one have not germinated yet, but the other ones have. And these last ones I checked, none of them have germinated, but I'll open it up and let you see anyway. These are Chinese 5-color. And the seeds are not necessarily old, and they came from Baker Creek, so they should be good seeds. I think maybe these are just slow. So here we go on these. Let's see. None of these have germinated. But I'm not giving up on them. So these will immediately go back in the envelope because I know these have to give them a little bit more time. So put those down in there. And as you see what I'm doing is, because they're narrow, I can just wrap it up like that. And either stand it on end or that way, doesn't really matter. Doesn't take up very much space. And I'm putting it on top of my refrigerator where it's nice and warm. I do not have a heat mat. Now I would like to have one, but I don't have one. Maybe I should start a wish list. So there we go. So now let me show you what I'm doing. So we're going to keep this. Take the top off of here. I'm just going to use this end, the end of my tweezers, to dig the holes. To dig the holes, that's silly. Okay. But these have dried out a little. I had soil in here for a while, so let me add a little bit extra water to these. Just a little bit of water, not a lot. because it is damp. The surface was drying though. Okay, that'll do it. It should be moist down in the bottom, and let me be sure I've got holes in these. And yes, I do have drainage holes in here. Let's see the drainage holes. So the first one I'm going to do is the California Wonder. And today is March 2nd, I believe. So I'm going to put the date that I planted them on here. So I'm going to label the cups one at a time. And that way I'm not going to make a mistake and plant the wrong seeds in the wrong cup. How many of the California Wonders did I have? So there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll say 5. So I need to plant 5, make 5 holes in here. And it's not very deep. So let's see, what is the deepest? So there is, that's how deep the longest root is. So I'm going to plant these. These 2 I'm going to plant first, and I'm going to plant them a little bit deeper. So let me do down there. I'm just going to do these deeper ones right here in the middle. You probably couldn't see that. And move this over so you can see what I'm doing. I just did a hole, and that hole is that deep. Another one, but the same, that deep. So now I'm going to take these 2 longest, the ones with the 2 longest roots, bring these over, and I'll pluck that one off. It's put that down in there. Get that one. Well, it's kind of stuck. Be careful. There you go. Don't want to break that root. That root tip is fragile, and you have to have that root tip for it to grow. These are too young to have developed any side roots yet. So if you break off the root tip, then you might as well throw the seed away, because it's not going to grow. So there's those 2. Now I've got, how many more? 1, 2, 3 more to go. So I'm just going to do one here, there, and there, and there. And they don't have to be very deep, because they don't have much of a root on them. Just let that fall in there. There we go. Like that. So we want the root to be down. There we go. And that one. Uh-oh, I dropped it. Very carefully. One thing about using these forceps, so these tweezers, is the seeds have a chance to bounce. Grab this very, very carefully. Now put that in there. There you go. Now I'm going to do the same thing for all the rest of them. You don't need to watch me planting every single one of these seeds. But that's all there is to it. Now in this case, because they already have roots, intact roots, I'm not going to press down on these, because I don't want to take a chance on breaking the roots off. But I am going to give it some more water. And the water will settle the soil in around the roots. The same idea that you would do if you planted seeds outside and you've just planted them in the soil. So if you direct sowed them, then you would come along afterwards and water the area that you just planted, and this is doing the same thing. It's just settling in the seeds a little bit. And that's it. So these 3 seeds that are left on these California Wonders, I'm just going to roll them back up again and put them in the bag with the other ones. So there we go. And I will continue with the rest of them, and I'll be back with you when I've finished. Alright, y'all, I'm leaving a space here. I'm leaving a space right here where that cup can go if and when those last peppers germinate, but that's staying out for now. I don't want to be confused and think that there might be something in there that's not coming up. So we know that all of these have germinated and that I should have 100% germination in these cups, because every single one of the seeds that I planted in there already had sprouted. They have already germinated, and I only put the seeds in the cups that had already sprouted. So there's no question whatsoever whether or not these seeds are alive or if they're viable or not. They're viable. Now the next thing to do is I'm going to take a second container like that, and I will put tape across the back of it, or one side, doesn't matter which side is the front or the back, so it'll stay closed. I mean, otherwise it can slip. Or I could leave it just like that and just put something heavy on top of it. But this is going out. No, this is not going outside. This one is not going outside. This one is going to stay inside until the weather has stabilized enough that I can put it outside on nice days. Similar to hardening it off, it would be hardening it off. If you're actually winter sowing, then you don't have to harden off, because the plants have already, they've already been outside the whole time and they're already hardened off, and that's one of the advantages of winter sowing. This is not winter sowing, but I will be able to put it outside periodically on nice days. I don't want these plants to become spindly, so as long as the temperature is relatively, I wouldn't say warm, above freezing, say in the 40s, 50s, I may put it outside, at 50s particularly, because they're going to be in this little greenhouse. It'll be plenty warm during the day, even in the 40s. Because this is closed up in a little greenhouse, that even if it's cold outside, you can put these outside and they'll be warmer than the actual outside temperature, because you've got this greenhouse effect by the plastic. That's all there is to it, and it works very, very well. I've done this before too. This is not an experiment as far as putting seeds that I have started inside, outside, because that does work fine. The thing is that if we're going to have freezing temperatures anytime, in the daytime or at night, they need to come back inside, because these are tender plants that are not going to survive the freezing temperatures the way the perennials and the hardier, some of the hardier annuals would. So there's that. Now I said I was going to show you a surprise. So let me move this out of the way. You see these? I don't know. Can you read the label on that? Yeah. The day, I believe it was the day, I don't know what day it was, but after just talking about being essentially the same process as doing a germination test, I thought, well, why not? So I had some Cherokee tan pumpkins. I had eaten a pumpkin and saved the seeds, and so I decided to, and I do that when I eat one of those pumpkins. I will do a germination test on it, because sometimes they're just, the seeds aren't any good. Maybe the pumpkin was green when I picked it, and it'll ripen inside, but the seeds won't necessarily ripen and be viable. So I tested these. I planted 5 seeds, and 100% of them germinated. So these plants are going with me to the gathering. March 9th is the Deep South Gathering in Wiggins, Mississippi. It's at the Stone County Fairgrounds in Wiggins, Mississippi. And surely you already know about this. If you don't know about it and you are in driving distance of South Mississippi, this is 30 miles north of Gulfport, Mississippi, in Stone County. And we're having a gathering, which essentially is a meet and greet, getting to know each other. We're gathering together and making new friends. This coming weekend, March 9th, is the Deep South Gathering. And some lucky person is going to take home this package of 5 already germinated, already established Cherokee pumpkin seedlings. Bye, y'all. See you next time. Hopefully I see you at the gathering next weekend.